What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today we're going to be telling you guys the story time of the time this guy's roommate killed his turtle. Yeah, bro, definitely not very swagtastic to say the least. Pretty downvote thing to do if you're a roommate. Killing the, pet in the house is one of the things you're just not supposed to do. Regardless, it'll be a good video, so sit back, relax, and enjoy, and press the like button or your mom's a hoe, and let's get into it.
It's so good, it's not good. Nice rack in her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's a hell of a feeling.
Alright, so this is a subscriber story that was sent in to me about a crazy roommate that they had in college. And obviously, I've had my own experiences with crazy roommates. I'll put a link down below to that video. But anyways, this person was living in a 3-bedroom apartment near the college they were going to. And they only had one roommate, so they decided to get one more person to fill the empty bedroom to make the cost less. And they were looking for a little bit and just hadn't found anybody that they were really comfortable with living there, so they were starting to get desperate, and the roommate ended up having someone that they shared a class with that was looking for some place to live and could pay rent. So out of desperation, they just kind of agreed to have this person move in. They knew that it wasn't going to be somebody they were going to be like super close with, but it was somebody that would make the rent cheaper, so YOLO. And the person that moved in, I'm going to name Morgan just for the rest of this video. And Morgan thought that, he was this really mature, fantastic person, just really up there, able to converse with the queen, one of the most mature people to ever exist. And the reality was his homeboy made worse decisions than, I don't know, somebody that makes really bad decisions. The 37-year-old man that ends up, in a Jake Paul vlog for clout, like that type of level of bad decisions. He would never clean up any of the messes he made. He was always late on rent payments. And all of that is really, really annoying and really immature. But what made him super unbearable was the fact that even though he was always messing up, always being late, making all these mistakes, whenever somebody would approach him and talk to him about it, bro, he would get mad at them. Let's say he was a week late on paying his part of the rent, right? They would go to him and be like, hey, we need the rent money. And he would be like, it's so financially irresponsible that you guys don't have the ability to, let me take some time to pay rent. Huh? It's financially irresponsible of them to not have enough extra money for their roommate to take an extra 2 weeks to pay the rent? Bro, that's the point of being a roommate is, yeah, they wanted it to be cheaper and everybody's kind of got to pay on time. That's kind of the whole point, literally, of having roommates. He would just get incredibly defensive, if he had made dinner the night before and it was a mess and he hadn't cleaned it up and somebody was like, hey bro, can you clean up the kitchen? It was a massive argument. And this naturally just leads to a lot of fights. And everybody had their own bedroom, so there wasn't a lot of hanging out in the common area because they didn't really get along. And in the subscriber that sent me this, he had a turtle in his room. And, it was basically the only thing that him and Morgan got along about at all. I guess Morgan was super into turtles. The subscriber was obviously super into turtles. That's why he had one, It would be really confusing if he's like, nah, I'm not much of a turtle guy. Just got one. Anyway, since it was the only thing that they got along about and something they both liked, it was basically the only thing that they would ever have conversations about that wouldn't lead to an argument. And it kind of repaired the relationship a little bit to the point where him and Morgan could have conversations. He could ask Morgan to take out the trash and he would do it, all because of the little relationship they had built out built over this turtle, which leads to just, the worst part of the situation, obviously, the title being the title. The subscriber who had sent this in to me ended up having to have gone home for a day or two, a weekend, going home from college for a little bit. And they had left everything that the turtle had needed ready to go. They had left a heat lamp on, left, some food, some water, cleaned the cage, everything was good to go. They were just going to be gone for 2 days. And he goes home, and while he's home, he ends up getting sick. And not just oh no. He gets so sick that his parents end up taking him to the hospital. That sick. And in the couple of days before he ends up going to the hospital, he had called Morgan and been like, hey man, I'm really, really sick. I don't know when I'm gonna be back. Can you please just take care of the turtle? And Morgan's like, yeah, of course, bro. Feel better. I promise I'm gonna take care of the turtle. Everything's gonna be okay. And anyways, this subscriber ends up being in the hospital for 2 weeks, gets so sick that he barely makes it, almost dies. And so he's not checking his phone very much. It's not his number one priority. You know, staying alive is kind of priority number one when you're fighting an illness like that, obviously. But when he kind of starts to feel better, he gets his phone, and throughout the 2 weeks that he was in the hospital sick, Morgan had been texting him updates about the turtles, sorry. No pictures or anything, like no photographic proof, of just kind of being like, hey, I cleaned the cage today, hey, I fed it, here's this, here that. And honestly, the subscriber that sent this in was very relieved, just because like he knew his roommate was super, super unreliable, and it was nice to see that he had at least pulled through about taking care of his pet. It was not the ideal situation. Like 9 times out of 10, he would have never asked him to watch his pet. He would have never asked him to, you know, be in charge of anything. But obviously, when you were just going home for like 2 days, and the next thing you know, you're in the hospital for 2 weeks almost dying, you just kind of gotta make do with what happens. There's really nothing the guy could have done. He was literally like borderline comatose in a hospital bed for 2 weeks. It's not like he could have gone and taken care of the turtle. He couldn't have told his mom to go take care of it. Homie couldn't talk. Whatever. After some time, though, he finally ends up being allowed to go home. So he ends up going back to his parents' house for a bit, recovering for a few more days before deciding that it was time to head back on up to college. So he texts both of his roommates and he's like, hey, I'm going to be coming back. And Morgan says something along the lines of like, I think you should probably take a few more days. And he's not really sure why. He's kind of like, that's kind of weird, but no, I'm going to be back tomorrow. He kind of is like, it doesn't really matter what you're saying. I'm coming back tomorrow. I've been gone for long. I've got to get all my classes and stuff back in check. Like, I'm coming. And Morgan's apprehensive, but whatever. He doesn't really think much of it. And the next day he packs up everything, gets in his car and goes. And as he's on his way up to his apartment, he sees Morgan like rapidly carrying this bag of trash out to the dumpster. And he's kind of like, hey man, what's up? Nice to see you taking out the trash. And Morgan won't look him in the eyes, doesn't say nice to meet him or anything. He's just like, oh, hey bro, like nothing. Which is weird. You know, they weren't homies, but if somebody you were relatively close with or living with had like just almost died and been in the hospital, you might just be like, hey man, glad to see you're okay. At the bare minimum, I feel like that's something you should do. Alright guys, I'm gonna interrupt the video for just 1 second. On screen now is actually a PlayStation gift card. I give one of these away in every video I post here on this channel as a way to just say thank you to everyone who's subscribed with those notifications on. So if you haven't already, be sure to press that button, turn on all notifications, and if you have, then big thank you. You make the channel operate, and I mucho appreciate it. Big thank you, and on that note, I will shut up and let you guys get back to the video. Anyways, he just goes upstairs and goes into his room, and obviously everything's kind of put together, everything's relatively clean, but he notices something about his room is off. He goes over to the turtle cage, and where there used to be the turtle that he obviously had taken care of for a long time is a completely different species of turtle. Like, not just a different turtle, it's a tortoise. He had put a tortoise in this cage, which first of all you shouldn't do because the tortoise is now like on the only dry piece and can't move without drowning because tortoises can't swim. So obviously he takes the tortoise out, you know, makes a little makeshift cage with the heat lamp to like keep the tortoise safe because he knows how to take care of that too. And he goes out, he's like, Morgan, where is my turtle? And Morgan's face just like looks down and he can just feel the guilt just radiating off of him. And he goes, I didn't take care of it. And he's like, you what? He goes, yeah, honestly, I forgot. And then obviously he pulls up all these text messages that Morgan had sent him about like, oh, I'm taking care of the turtle, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. He's like, well, yeah, I knew you were in the hospital, I didn't want you to worry, so I figured I would just replace the turtle and you wouldn't notice. That's right, this Morgan guy was such a moron that he unironically thought that he had replaced a turtle with a tortoise and nobody was gonna notice. So obviously he has to get held back by the other roommate that comes out when he hears the commotion from just beating this Morgan dude senseless for killing his turtle, lying to him, just like the whole chagrittery of things. On top of the fact that he's like always late on rent, never cleans up after himself, like all the anger that he was angry at him for comes out in one just big whoomph. And so they're being held apart, and Morgan is like, I don't know why you're mad. I don't know why you're mad. It's just a turtle. It's just a turtle. And he's like, I'm mad because it was my pet, you idiot. It was just a turtle to you, but that was my pet, and you promised you'd take care of it, and you were sending me updates like you were taking care of it for 2 weeks. I would have had somebody else come take care of it if you weren't gonna do it. Why? Like, are you, like just anger. And at that point, the other roommate is like, wait a second, you let his turtle die? He's like, well, I didn't mean to let it die. I just forgot about it. And then the other roommate is like, Morgan, you told me that you were taking care of it and I didn't need to worry about it when I offered to take care of it. That's right, guys. The other roommate had like offered to take care of the turtle so he didn't have to worry about it. He had said no and then just let the turtle die. So at that point, the roommates that were originally there that were like friends decide that they gotta kick this dude out. So they let him know that he has 3 days to get his stuff out, and he starts arguing with them, like angrily saying that they had no reason to kick him out because he had been a perfectly acceptable roommate. And at that point, he loses it. He just starts listing off everything that this guy has done to be an absolute moron. Every month that he's been late on his rent payments, which is basically every single one that he's been there. Every time, he hasn't cleaned up after himself. He got cable for the apartment and then doesn't pay for it. Like, all of these things. And the entire time, Morgan is just standing there waiting for, like, his turn to defend himself. And when it's his turn to defend himself, he's like, wow, I didn't realize that you guys would do this to me as my friends. And before he can even finish, the other roommate is like, friends? You just let his turtle die while he was in the hospital, you moron. What do you mean, friends? You're not our friend. And, yeah, and that kind of shut him up very quickly, bro. He's like, fine, I'm leaving. And he, like, left. The next day while they were at school, I guess he had come and like gotten his stuff. And whenever he would see them around campus or anything after that, he would like run the other way, basically. Like, not run, but look down at the floor and like quickly walk the other direction, because obviously it's got to be weird to look a dude whose pet you killed in the eyes. Oh yeah, sorry about that. I don't really think the apology is gonna cut it, bro. Realistically, I just feel like, if your friend's in the hospital, taking care of his pet is really the least thing you could do. But hey, maybe that's just me. Anyways, guys, I do think that's gonna do it for the video, though. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button, comment down below, and subscribe if you're new. If you are a G Fuel drinker and you're gonna get some G Fuel, then use code Scrubby at the checkout for a little bit of a discount. Other than that, you can find the intro song at the link in the description down below, along with the link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. It's pretty swag-tastic if you ask me. And something else I wanted to talk about just a little bit. I put a couple of my old story times on Spotify a while ago, and I'm putting some more on there now. I see a lot of y'all saying that, like, you wanted a way to listen on there, so there you go. That being said, new videos are, like, only gonna be on here. I'm not gonna, like, post on there often. But if you wanted some stuff to listen to, there you go. And, yeah, other than that, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.